Okay, everybody, can you all hear me? I think we're sort of ready for starting now. So anybody joins will come. So my name's Adrian Stanley. I'm the moderator for this session, playing global Moneyball and Impactball tools and case studies for publishing intelligently in international markets. So what's all that about? I'll just frame that a little bit at the beginning. We don't have Brad Pitt speaking, but the idea around the sort of Moneyball and the movie that was here with that they were able to the Oakland A's were able to put together a team of baseball players based on stats and numbers. As much they weren't the well-known and high-paid players, but they ended up winning the World Series. So, although we don't have Brad and his team, we have a great lineup of speakers here. And the idea is really that we're trying to merge the session between what's happening globally with experience, case studies, a great lineup of people, but also different data points and ways that you can think in the future of how and where your publishing program should be going to. So that's the sort of framing of where this is coming from. Some people will play a little more on the data side, some people will play on the experience and impact side. But just to sort of put a little bit of context outside of our industry, we all know that Google's, Facebook's, they track every click we do, they know what we're doing, their systems are engineered to keep users engaged with content. Amazon has ways where they can track what products are selling best, and then in some cases they even supplement their own products for those products that are selling best used on the data they get. So there's a lot of information that you can draw out of the data. I think it's fair to say now that a lot of the data within publishing is in different silos and different locations and not always join the sort of dots together. So what we're aiming to present here to you is a number of sort of experience and data points for you to sort of think about and take away and see what you can sort of do back home in the day job with them. A couple of examples from my own sort of industry and also another case study from a publisher. I work at Digital Science and we work with sort of startup technologies. One of the technologies we have is this global grants database, and our aim is to help research and researchers. But this grants database lets you help funders make better decisions about the research they're funding. But now we've actually realized from talking with publishers that it can give them insights into where research is being done by who and when, anywhere from 3 to 8 years ahead of time from publication, from when the grant starts, this line here, the application, to when the article's published. So there are technologies and tools that will let you get these insights ahead of time, the business intelligence. And just to sort of highlight these cases, there's a graph here of Ebola and Zika, and you see the sort of hockey stick curve, if you kind of can't read, but 2007 to 2013, very little research funded in that area. Suddenly then, 2014, 15, there's a whole lot of research. So you know as a publisher, you're going to get a lot of papers coming out of that research. So there's a lot of data and systems that you may not be fully aware of that can help you in your day jobs. Likewise, with all this data, you can display it in many different ways. You can see which institutions are getting what funding and map that to whether that's where your authors are from or whether you sales and subscriptions. There's all sort of cool ways to have maps and visualize this data and this information. And another sort of example I'm just putting out there for you guys just to think about and to try to tee up some of the speakers. Mendeley, I heard one of their presentations a little while back, but one of the things Jan, one of the founders, was saying was that the data and social data around the article, in his own opinion, was going to be as valuable, if not more valuable, than the actual article. So seeing that discussion around the article and being able to put context is another sort of data source that you may not be aware of. One of the companies I work with, Altmetric, has a top 100 every year, but you can look by country, by institution, by organization, by publisher, and see the sort of top social attention to the articles. Now, on the sort of flip side of the data and the numbers side, there's a great example. Unfortunately, the people couldn't be here to speak. They have their annual meeting, but ASCO just started a new journal, the Journal of Global Oncology. And they presented at an ALPSP seminar webinar. And what I found was really interesting about this concept was it wasn't just a new startup open access journal to let them find out what's happening with open access and overflow journals. This journal was really thought through and designed, to me, in a very, very well way. They first did an environmental scan, an organizational scan, and publication scan within their field and how they worked. But what they did then, that the aims of the journal was to, and here's a slide just sort of showing from some of their numbers they pulled from marketing meetings. But what the journal aimed to do was publish articles about oncology in the developing world and create an interaction between people in the developing world and then the more sophisticated and systems in the developed world. And they've really seen this journal take off within the last year, and that was really around the impact and mission. But they used the numbers and stats to think through how they were going to start this new journal. We have that's sort of my introduction to start with. Just to sort of outlay the session, how you're going to hear it, with two speakers up here, John Hammersley, one of the co-founders from Overleaf, an authoring tool, and then Sharon Yee from Research Square. And they're going to really help, first of all, start about the authoring aspect of research and global collaborations. Then we have some sort of case studies from publishers and librarians. And then we're going to finish off with John from Sage and Pinar from Akicoms from the library side and the bigger publisher side. So that's the sort of tee up for the session. We're going to do two speakers, a few questions at the end, and the next three will come up, and then two more. So I hope you'll sort of save your questions till the end of the sessions, but I hope this will be informative and stimulating. And now I need to call up John.